Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
That's right. My name is Mike Piworsky, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most here on The Rundown. Two-way views, conservative news, and Craig, guess what day it is?
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a dream. Yum, 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 yummity yum. Bring your sour cream.
Oh, yeah. Gotta love Taco Tuesday.
Yep. Yes, I do.
Do not know if I will be having tacos today. Still kind of waiting. As I've let the folks know that we were going to be pre-recording the show today, so it's still early morning here in California. So the day is still ahead of me.
I got the whole thing ready to fake. I was going to fake the timeline, and you said we pre-record. All right, whatever. Okay. Now I got to change. These are my
Now I gotta
afternoon
change.
clothes, not my morning clothes. I got to put my morning clothes on.
There you go. Yeah, for those of you who do not know, Mike goes through several wardrobe changes throughout the day.
You don't? I mean, you know what the humidity's like here?
Well, okay, you have a point.
Yeah.
Other than going from my night clothes to my workout clothes to my day clothes, yeah, no.
Night clothes. I could see you in one of those like one-piece pajamas with the flap on the butt.
Nah, I'm more the silk robe type.
Oh, silk robe, or like the dress shirt, the shirt that's real long, goes like to your knees, like a Winnie the Pooh kind of thing.
Oh no, with the matching cap. No, that's not me.
Yeah, no drawers though. That's
No
commonly
drawers.
known as
No drawers.
yeah,
Definitely
commonly
no
known
drawers.
as Winnie the Pooh in it. Yeah, shirt, no shirt, no pants. Yeah.
Oh, well, then it only comes down to my waist.
Well, that's your day shirt. Your day shirt, you're letting it hang out.
That's
At
your
night,
day
you
shirt.
protect it. At night, you go longer. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. It's good to know
Yeah.
your particular wardrobe choices.
Yeah. Well, you got to be flexible.
Got to be
It's all
flexible. Definitely have
It's
to
all
be
about
flexible.
flexibility, Ray. Flexibility.
I imagine though, with the humidity there in Florida, it's probably moisture wicking shirt.
No, because you don't want it dripping down on your junk. So
Oh, okay. So it's absorbent.
yes, that's why you got to take it off all the time, because you're like, oh, need another one.
Yeah, I spent when I was in college, I actually did an internship there in Boca Raton, Florida, and I remember it was the hardest thing. I gave up on the idea of not sweating. It was like I just don't want to be funky. I just don't want to stink.
Yeah, that's it. That's pretty much my goal with everyone I know. Just I don't want you to smell. Just don't want you to smell.
I just don't want you to smell. I can smell okay, but I just don't want you to smell.
I got it under control, but evidently everybody else has not figured it out. So
No. Well, it was the funniest thing watching, like back when I was a kid, watching like shows like In the Heat of the Night, where you have the Southern Sheriff, and I'm wondering, I'm like, dude doesn't have antiperspirant. Why is there always like pools of sweat under dude's arm on these shows? And I'm like, it's because I had never been down south.
yeah,
Once
they
I
filmed
went,
on
then I
actual
understood.
Yeah, they filmed on actual location. That's why.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
They don't do that no more.
No. Nobody wants to see Carol O'Connor's pit stains.
No, they do not.
Yeah.
We do not.
That's
So
right.
we'll clarify that.
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead. We got a lot to talk about today, so let's go ahead and start it off with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, let's say hi to Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR, you need a new barrel, rifle caliber, pistol caliber, whatever you want, they got. They got different lengths, different styles. They got like all like the dimples on them. They got diamond cuts. They got whatever you need. They got them there. Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. You want the best in tactical concealed holsters on the market? Get on over to hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. That's all one word, no spaces, all caps. And get yourself a nice little discount. And if you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, whatever you want, they got it. Get your group together, get your agency together, place an order at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. Please take a moment to visit our sponsors. All you have to do is follow the links in the description to this program. Just go there, check them out, spend some money with them, and make sure you tell them it was the guys over at The Rundown that sent you. Also want to encourage you, if you're watching the program, normally we do this live, right? So normally we do this live 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, which means we take your comments. We love hearing from our audience, whether you agree with us or whether you disagree with us. In fact, it's actually more fun when you disagree with us, because then we get the opportunity to mock you.
Oh, wow. Is that a mockingbird?
Man, is that a mockingbird? Is that a mockingbird?
Now, just to understand, just because we're not live today doesn't mean that we're not still taking your comments. Doesn't mean that we're not going to still respond to your comments. In fact, the first story that we're talking about today is actually at the request of one of our viewers, Mr. Sean South from Sacramento, California. So that's just so y'all know, yes, we do pay attention to the comments. Yes, we do share them. And yes, Sean, we will likely be taking the opportunity to mock you today.
Hey,
In
is
any
he from
case-
regular? Is he from regular sack or old sack?
He's probably from Lavender Heights.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Sean will know.
Okay.
In any case, so anyway, but we very much enjoy your input, enjoy hearing what you folks have to say about the program. Like I said, all kidding aside, we will make fun of you because it's entertaining, particularly to us.
That's right. And that's what it's all about.
That is what it is definitely all about. So let's go ahead and get into our news stories for the day. This first one here, you've probably heard that, first the Democrats decided that they were going to put out this rando video talking about, it's you have to obey illegal orders, basically encouraging members of the military to disobey orders, implying, and because they do not actually say it, but implying that someone, I wonder who, Orange Man Bad, has given these bad orders, these unlawful orders, and you are obligated to ignore them. Well, turns out it may not have been as random an idea or as random a video as they would lead one to believe. Here it says, White House says Admiral approved second deadly boat strike. Now, in essence, what happened here, let me read from the story, because they'll probably give you a better idea of it than I will if I try to describe it. It says the White House on Monday confirmed a second strike in September had killed wounded civilians after the first effort failed, and put responsibility largely on naval commander leading the mission. This is from Politico. Spokesperson Caroline Leavitt said U.S. Special Operations Command head Admiral Frank Bradley was, quote, within his authority and the law, end quote, in conducting a second strike on alleged drug traffickers in the Caribbean after the force of the first strike tossed them from the boat. Her comments appeared to try and defend Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who came under fire over the weekend after the Washington Post reported that he authorized an elite military unit to kill everyone on the alleged drug boat. The case has heightened scrutiny from lawmakers and others on the deadly U.S. campaign to kill drug traffickers in the Caribbean. The Post reported that Hegseth gave a verbal order to kill everyone after surveillance footage showed two men clinging to a wreckage. Bradley, as the head of Special Operations Command, ordered the second strike, but the White House distanced the Pentagon chief from direct attacks. Hegseth, quote, authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes, Levitt said. Quote, the president has made it quite clear that if narco terrorists, again, are trafficking illegal drugs towards the United States, he has the authority to kill them, and that is what the administration is doing. Now, Mike, I appreciate having you on the program for conversations like this, because they're out there and they're basically saying, look, this is a war crime. These people were knocked out of the boat. They were not a threat to the United States anymore. So therefore, doing a second strike to kill them amounts to a war crime. I don't know the legal standards. It sounds like they're trying to distance themselves, at least trying to distance Hegseth from the decision, but then at the same time trying to say that the admiral was well within his responsibility and his authority to make the decision that he did. You know much more about this sort of stuff than I do, so I'm gonna ask you to weigh in on this.
Yeah. So first, Craig, right? It's funny that the criminals, Democrats, are accusing others of criminals of being a crime. It's like, wow. Oh, look, here's here's look at the irony in this. To step back a hair. Remember, you did say that we had the left last week accusing, or could come out with the video that said you don't have to disobey illegal orders. So that wasn't the point of that video. As I saw it, the point of that video was not that you don't have to obey illegal orders. Every soldier knows that. Every Marine knows that. Anything that's illegal, immoral, unethical is an order you're not required to follow. What they tried to insinuate was every order from the president was illegal, immoral, or unethical. So they tried to brainwash you against the person giving the orders, saying all of his orders were in violation. So that's what they were trying to do. Not saying that, oh, it's an illegal, you don't have to obey illegal orders. They tried to say President Trump gives illegal orders. That was the point of that video. All right, here's the deal, Craig. Let's say, and here's what we have here, right? You have these people that were on the boat, filled with drugs, filled with fentanyl, filled with whatever it was. They get the first strike. 2 people survive, and the boat's still there. So use this analogy, right, Craig? You're a soldier. You're a policeman. You face your bad guy, and he's got a gun, and you tell him put the gun down, and he don't put the gun down, and you shoot him, and then you shoot him, and he falls down, and he drops the gun, Craig. But then he picks the gun back up. Well, you already shot him once. You're not allowed to shoot him again. But hold on. The narco terrorists' weapon is the drugs, is the boat. They shot the boat the first time. These two said, hey, let's get back with the boat. Let's get back with the drugs. There's your threat again. The threat has not ceased. The original threat was to destroy the boat, destroy the drugs on the boat. It didn't work on the first shot. They re-engaged with the boat in the drugs. Okay, shoot it again.
And that is the reason why I wanted to let Mike explain it, because my assessment was the same thing, and the assessments that have been given by military experts is in fact that. Now, the only way in which you can interpret it any differently is if you are basically intentionally deciding to interpret it differently. In other words, you're trying to say, well, they weren't a threat. Well, no, they were a threat. Only someone who's never been in that situation, who doesn't understand. Look, if the boat had not clearly been sunk, because the boat hadn't been sunk,
right?
We don't even know if the boat was disabled. All we know was they were back on the boat.
Yeah, yep. If they're in the water going, hey, and the boat's 100 yards away sinking, okay, call in the helicopters. Let's rescue these guys.
Right. But that wasn't the case.
No.
All I will say is, all I'll say is this: if you don't want your boat to get sunk, try not trafficking drugs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
I mean,
if your boat gets shot the first time, and you go back to the boat and go, oh, now we're safe. Now you've made a poor decision. You've made a poor decision.
Well, and you gotta wonder. I mean, who are the guys who are actually getting in these boats that they're convincing to get in these boats? It's like, yeah, what happened to Juan last week? Yeah, no, he got blown up. Yeah. But didn't Carlos 2 weeks before get blown up? Yeah.
Yeah.
So why exactly are we getting in this boat?
Yeah. You could hear the left's argument on that. I already know what that's going to be. That's going to be, these were innocent people that the drug lords said, we're going to kill your family unless you take this boat to Miami. All right. Well, looks like you made a lot of bad decisions there, Carlos.
Well, there's a reason why that why I don't want to say that we're seeking regime change, but we're seeking regime change
Yes.
because when you have a government that does stuff like this, and here's the thing, I've always said this: if you have a government that is inherently evil, it's because you allow that government to continue to exist. And the fact that we're doing something about it, quite frankly, does absolutely no good, though, if the people of Venezuela are not willing to do something. And clearly we have allies within Venezuela who are willing to do something, which is the reason why the Trump administration is engaged in this. When we say war, it's not a war with Venezuela. It's a war with drug dealers or the drug cartels that are running Venezuela.
Yes. Well, and obviously the administration there is in cahoots with them, right? They're
Oh yeah,
they're
that's my point. That when I say the drug cartels is running Venezuela, I mean I'm referring to Maduro.
Yeah. And listen, we'll see. There was some news last night. We'll see what happens later today, right? That there might be a blockade being announced in the next day or two.
Yes. And I once again want to point to Democrats to say, look, you do realize, so when it comes to, for example, illegal immigration, Democrats, that you're on the side of the people that are of the drug cartels, the people that are bringing in fentanyl, the people that are bringing in children so that they can be sex trafficked, the people who are bringing in gangs who are murdering, raping, and robbing American people. You're on the side of the criminals. In the case of these, these quote unquote war crimes, you're siding with the drug dealers, with the cartels that are seeking to bring more drugs into the United States of America. It baffles me as to how the Democratic Party thinks it is going to win by siding with the criminals.
That's who they want to vote for them. Bring these people in, let them come in. I'll send them money in the mail. They vote for me. It's pretty simple math.
Except I don't see it working out for them. I really don't, because I first of all, criminals don't generally vote. Or I guess when criminals vote, they vote in mass, I guess.
Or in Chicago. Yeah.
Or in Chicago. Well, in mass.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sean, there you go. There you have it. Yes, you are choosing to side with criminals. I'm all for making sure that we're, if there is, I'm all for due process for American citizens, for people who are here in the United States of America. But I will say this: if you are seeking to traffic drugs into the United States of America, and you have been amply warned not to, and you've been told exactly what is going to happen if you do, FAFO, bruh. Don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, wear a life vest next time.
Wear life vest. Bomb shield, maybe.
That's it. Yeah.
Or how about this? Don't get in the boat.
Yeah.
Anyway,
there you go.
Just an idea. All right, talk about not getting in the boat or not taking a trip. Now, this is interesting. Now, it's a good thing we got away from the United Kingdom. Good thing we are no longer a part of England or Great Britain, because they are, in fact, losing their minds over there. You heard, I talked yesterday about how they're trying to get rid of trial by jury in most cases. So in other words, they just want to judge. And the main reason that they want to do this is because juries have tended to side with, in particular in free speech cases, side with those with the freedom of speech as opposed to towing the government narrative. Well, in Great Britain, a gentleman, well, let me read this. So you have an IT consultant who was put through 13 weeks of hell after he was arrested for posing with a shotgun in Florida. That's right, Florida man got him. An IT consultant says he was put through 13 weeks of hell after being arrested for posing with a gun on a LinkedIn post while on holiday in Florida. John Richelieu Booth posted 3 images of himself with firearms while staying on private property with friends in the U.S. However, when he arrived back in the UK in August, a police officer visited his house to warn him that concerns had been raised about his account. The 50-year-old said he offered to prove that the pictures had been taken in the U.S., where owning or shooting guns are legal. The officer told him it was not necessary. A week later, on August 23rd, the officers returned and arrested him on suspicion of possessing a firearm with intent to cause fear of violence. He also faced another allegation of stalking related to a photograph of a house that appeared on his social media. Mr. Booth was held overnight in a cell before being interviewed. He was released on bail until October. He claims police visited his home 3 more times before the charges against him were dropped. So there he is with a shotgun. There he is with an AR,
A sightless AR.
a sightless AR, and then other sundry toys. After he was charged, Mr. Booth was claimed he was unable to work because his phone and computers were seized by police. The IT contractor accused the police as a massive overreach. He told the Telegraph anybody should be allowed to say anything they wish as long as it's not hateful. Quote, when did we go from a society where you can have a discussion with somebody and go, you know what? I don't like your opinion. I'm going to disagree with you, but I'm not going to tell you why. I'm going to call the police. When did we get so thin-skinned as a society? Anyway, so basically, dude decided to visit Florida, the gunshine state, and they decided, well, he decided to pose with a firearm. So again, something that you can legally do. I'm wondering if he actually noted in the post that he was in Florida, where he was at, because this is just folks, if you don't believe that in Great Britain they're actually arresting people for social media posts that someone else may be offended by, uh, you don't understand, because this is the sort of stuff they're pushing for here in the United States.
Yeah. So, by the way, this is proof how I know Craig does not listen to Arms Room Radio, because we did this story this weekend, and he didn't give me any credit at all for it. Craig, here's the deeper part of this story, right? When you read that and it talked about, okay, he was with the firearms, he was in Florida. By the way, Florida man is not responsible for that. Parliament man is responsible for this story. Let's be clear on that. It just happened to occur in Florida.
True.
And as everybody knows, when you get to Florida, they give you a gun. So he would have been disobeying the law here by not having one. And
I can attest to that. It's true.
Those are probably photos at the airport. They're like, "Oh, welcome here. Here's your gun." But as you dig deeper in that story, it says they also arrested him for stalking because he had a picture of somebody's house. There's your story. There's where this comes from. There's somebody disgruntled out there that said, whatever this guy's name is, he did that. And they went through and they found the gun things and they went, oh, there you go. There's our reason we can go hold him now, because there's a gun. We got to go question him about guns and where this occurred. That's the deeper part of this story. Somebody out there is disgruntled against him, and the gun just happens to be the tool they're using to arrest him. But it's absolutely ridiculous. You're right. Here's a guy that's, hey, listen, I'll provide you with all evidence you want, airplane tickets, a date, the geotags on the photos, whatever you want. And they're like, no, we don't need that. We don't need that. We've already made our mind up what we're going to do with you. So there's your issue.
Well, no, and you're 100% correct. In other words, the evidence didn't matter.
Right.
The fact that someone was offended was all that really mattered.
Yep.
Now, if you don't think that's exactly what the left wants to do here in the United States, you have not been paying attention.
That's right.
That's the big, and that, by the way, is the big story. And I mean, it wasn't just an inconvenience. Dude had to get bail. He's an IT consultant, so how can he function without his phone and his computer?
Yeah. Yeah, right, right. The only way this would have been okay, Craig, is if he'd been holding that gun on a drug boat. Then he would have been a victim.
Danny would have been a big was he pointing it towards Florida?
No, Florida won't let that happen. That happened. No, listen, listen.
He would have got blown up.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah,
If they're pointing it towards Florida,
yeah,
he'd have got blown up.
yeah. Listen, you get one airplane with a bomb dropping on a boat. That's a lot different than all of Florida standing on the shore waiting for you. Come on in. Come on in. We got you. We got you.
Yeah. It's if people once again, and I just continue to say this, and Mike, I know that stuff like this doesn't surprise you because we're seeing it happen. We know it's been happening. This is just the most recent iteration. There are people out there who utterly deny that this sort of stuff is happening.
Oh yeah, yeah. And again, I think you and I talked about it last week. I think I made reference to I used to watch the BBC News because it used to come, clean, unbiased news there. Well, ever since they've started making the move towards Brexit and towards conservatism and bringing the conservatives back in power in Parliament, they've tied that to Trump, right? And now they hate the right. So now their news media is all about hating the right and hating Trump. I mean, you can go through England in the UK and see nothing but Trump flags everywhere. It's amazing because Trump is their symbol for gaining back conservative values. And this is what's going on over in the UK because they've been flooded with illegals, and now they're making them citizens just for showing up. And the values there have turned to crap. It's turned to extreme far left policies.
Well, and the interesting thing is, and this is one of the untold stories of MAGA. MAGA is not about conservatism, although it has a lot aligned with conservatism. It is about pointing out the obvious that people have been afraid to say, pointing out the things and saying the things that people have been afraid to say, like the fact that, bringing in millions of people who come from a culture that is very much the antithesis of what we believe, bringing in people who hate this country, who hate Western values, bringing them into a Western-based constitutional republic here in the United States, or parliamentary democratic government there in England, bringing in people who oppose everything, all the values to which you stand, is probably not a good idea.
Yeah, and I think it goes even further than that. MAGA is about reclaiming your own government. It's about getting rid of the government and elite, whether it's liberal or conservative elite. It's about getting rid of the elite and putting the common man back in power, which ironically is why they have a parliament in England, because they had to get rid of the power of the royal party. And yet now here the parliament has become the elite,
Exactly. And it's the response of the government is to silence the folks.
Yeah.
Is to silence the people.
Yeah.
And replace them, by the way, because I'm going to tell you right now, you look at what's going on there, the reason why people are engaged in Brexit, the reason why you're starting to see conservatives take over. In fact, the one place where conservatives are not taking over, I believe, is Denmark. But Denmark has a liberal government that came out very, very strongly in favor of limiting immigration and coming down hard on illegal immigration. So
a couple of countries that are very strong in Europe. You've got Switzerland, Italy, obviously Switzerland and Poland, then to a lesser extent Austria and Italy, and those are the countries that are successful. Those are the countries that have started to shut down their own borders again and require more than just the standard UK passport, or excuse me, EU passport to get in. It kept their own dollar. And those are the strong, successful countries where everybody else is bleeding over there,
Well, exactly. So for those of you who advocate for international law, international law simply means open borders and lawlessness.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, the folks who are involved in the quote unquote international courts, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, none of these are folks that none of these are nations that are about justice. They are about control. And in particular, trying to control us.
That's it.
Forget y'all. Forget y'all. All right, this next story here, a Christian student, so was asked to write a paper on non-binary or on gender binaries. And the student, well, let's just say she decided that she was going to write a paper that reflected or write her opinion, and her opinion was largely based on her Christian values. Well, here's what happened.
That grade would not count against her, but it doesn't mean the conversation is over just yet.
I just did the assignment and turned it in, and I talked about the Bible in it. That is, I view all of my opinions in the world through the Bible.
Samantha Fulnecki is a junior at OU. She says when she submitted an essay reacting to an article for her psychology class, she got a 0. The graduate instructor, who is transgender, was the one grading it. They called it offensive and said it lacked empirical evidence.
I gave my opinion, and not just my opinion, but that's like the Bible says that God created male and female, and anything that's not from God or glorifying to God is glorifying to the enemy.
Here are excerpts of the essay. She says, society pushing the lie of multiple genders is demonic and believes it's against God's will.
That's what I meant by that. The demonic thing is that I didn't mean for that to be offensive, but the truth will naturally offend people. And so I think that's why people are kind of viewing that as offensive.
So, would you have a problem having a transgender teacher?
I wouldn't, not if they're able to separate their kind of beliefs and things from grading, then I don't, really care who my professors are.
She was supposed to be graded on whether there was an understanding of the article, whether it was a clear reaction, and whether the main ideas were organized in a coherent discussion. She got a 0 out of 25 points and filed a complaint against OU, claiming her religious freedom was violated. That instructor's been put on administrative leave. Fulnecki says she isn't sure whether she'll be seeking any legal action from this, but we asked an attorney what they thought if things do go in that direction.
In the end, I really do not see this lawsuit going anywhere, as there is no constitutional guarantee to an A in a class at a public university.
I did reach back out to the university today. They said the incident is still under investigation, but again, that graduate instructor is on administrative leave at this time, and I did reach out to them as well. We talked a little bit over email. They declined to comment. They didn't want to interview, but I also spoke with others close to the situation that says that person has been getting a lot of criticism and even some death threats after all of this that has happened. Now, live in Norman, Chantal Navarro, KOCO 5 News.
Okay, so the natural reaction for many conservatives is, well, wait a minute, she has a right to express her religious values in a paper, in particular on an item that is clearly culturally divisive, or where there's actual discussion. The only question that I had was, having not read the entire paper, was not so much that she couldn't express her Christian views or values. My question is, did she have any empirical data? Did she have any information? Because there's tons of information and data out there to contradict the narrative that society is trying to put out there relating to gender binaries or the whole gender issue. My question is, did she just rely solely on her biblical values? And if so, did she provide biblical quotes? Did she, what was underlying support for her argument? So I'm like, if she didn't provide any support, all she said was, well, the Bible infers this, and she didn't provide any evidence, then I could probably see her getting a 0. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I can't see her getting a 0 at all. First off, Fulnecki, what a cool name. I've never heard of Fulnecki before. That's kind of a cool name. This teacher's aide, whatever it was, said gave them a 0 because their opinion paper lacked empirical evidence. It's an opinion paper. Okay, opinion papers don't require any empirical evidence. It's an opinion paper. My opinion paper could be 100% different than yours, It doesn't require empirical evidence. Craig, we do a drill when we I teach. I'm an instructor. I teach a lot, and one of the drills we do is we say, all right, we're evaluating your writing skills and your ability to support a position. We want you to write a story, and here's the topic we use: gummy bears. All right, I don't know who came up with that, but that's the one we use. We say gummy bears. I need you to give me an argument, pro or for, against gummy bears, the history of gummy bears from the moon, whatever you want to do. The goal is to get them to write a 5-paragraph paper that's supports itself. It's structured properly. The English is proper, and at the end, the story you look at the story and go, whether ridiculous or you don't agree with the point that the writer is making. Did they write an article properly? That was this drill here. When they give you an opinion paper and they say, we're grading you on how you write your paragraphs or write your essay, that's it. The facts mean nothing. It's the presentation and the order and the grammar of the paper.
I'll disagree with you. If this were an English class, I would agree with you. But because this is a psychology class, I'm assuming that they want you to back your argument up with some sort of study, information, yada, yada, yada. And had she solely used biblical quotes and scriptures and said, look, this is what my opinion is based on. In other words, you have to have a foundation for it. You can't just say, well, it says. Once again, I'm not saying that she should have gotten a 0, but there's an argument that makes sure, because part of the challenge I have sometimes with some of my fellow Christians who are involved in politics and policy is it's great one. And yes, I base my opinions, my positions politically are based on my biblical values. But I also know that biblical values are largely work because they work in the real world. And so there's tons of empirical data, facts, and information that backs up those positions. And we ought to be able to make those very same arguments and argue those positions free from our religious beliefs. Not that we have to, but we ought to be able to do that. In particular, when you're talking about public policy positions. And I'm wondering, did she? And I don't know if she did, or I don't know if she did or she didn't.
And I will disagree with your disagreement, because this article said at the beginning, this was an opinion paper. Yes, it was a psychology class.
Yes.
It's an opinion paper. Craig, it's as if you came to me and wrote a great paper, how great the Cowboys were. Okay. It might be the best paper in the world, but we all know the Cowboys suck. So I'm giving you a 0. Okay.
Yeah. But the idea though is to offer. In other words, people don't just, when you're doing a college paper, people are not just looking for your opinion. They're looking for your informed opinion, which means you have to demonstrate how it is informed. And
I agree, but that's not what the article said. It said it was an opinion paper.
Yeah, that's what opinion. I hate to say this, but
no, it does not.
When I write an opinion piece, I base my opinions on facts.
Yeah, you do that.
If it was part of the assignment was to offer empirical data, and we don't know if she did or she didn't. The accusation was that she didn't. If part of the assignment, if part of the grade is you have to provide this and you don't provide this,
but that's what I'm saying, Craig. That was not in the article. The only thing we know from the article is she was told to write an opinion paper.
All right. Well, I don't know. I'm looking at the article here and I'm like, yeah, dude. And well, even in the piece that was just done, there were certain things that were required, and there's no real evidence that we don't see that she provided that or not. And I'm like, if she didn't, I could see getting knocked down. I could see getting knocked down on the grade. I think she should get a point for being able to for actually doing it and expressing her opinions and her values and saying what it was, where she stood. I don't think she should have gotten a 0.
She wrote a 5-page article based on what the requirements were that they gave us, that they reported to us. Neither you or I know what the actual requirements were. I'm only going on what they gave us. Oh, the one last thing I want to add is that attorney, we should just call him idiot. Craig, he didn't address whatsoever what the guidelines for the college are, or what the curriculum and the course outlines say. That's where this will come into, whether it's a lawsuit or not whether or not it's a violation of free speech. Evidently, he has not been paying attention for the past 10 years in the world of law.
No, you are 100% correct. The very fact that he would take a position where you're not, no, we know you're not guaranteed an A, but you also should not receive an F for expressing, because you chose to express your religious beliefs. In fact, that's called discrimination, and you do have a right to express your opinions and not be docked for it.
Correct.
And that particular attorney got issues.
Yeah.
Talking
probably
about
likes-
issues, although I think I kind of like this one. Idaho bars handing out free beer for those who are willing to help identify and turn in illegals. They're calling it Merry Snitchmas. Idaho Saloon promises free beer to citizens willing to help ICE catch illegals. It says the Old State Saloon in Eagle made an announcement Saturday on social media that ignited a firestorm online, Fox News reported. Alert: anyone who helps ICE identify and ultimately deport an illegal from Idaho gets free beer for 1 month at Old State Saloon. There's actually the post right there. When the word of the deal spread online, the Department of Homeland Security reacted with a GIF of a dinosaur character dropping what appeared to be a beer can while it had a dumbfounded look on its face. There's the video right there. Like, wait, what? If you'd like to claim your free beers, send a detailed email with any evidence, photos, videos, summary of events, dates, and times, etc. Deportation at oldstatesaloon.com. And the saloon wrote in the reply to its initial post. So there's it all right there. Mike, I got to say, with all the people and all the groups that are out there coming against the idea of ICE doing their job, the fact that a business out there would promote the idea of actually helping ICE do their job, I got to say, hats off. If I had a hat, I'd take it off to them.
I have a question, Craig. Does this have to be like somebody in Idaho, or can this be anywhere? Because
they didn't say. But I
it just
imagine
said
you probably have to show up to get the beer.
Oh, I could do that. Listen, I'll just, because Idaho borders Washington State, so we could just zip over the border, grab a few people, and actually bring them to the pub and turn them in. Be like, here you go, this guy right here. I got him in Washington. It's clearly illegal. So let's go get some beers.
Let's go get some beers. Oh, anyway. I know people are losing their mind over stuff like this, but I kind of like it.
Yeah. Listen, there's free beer. I'm in.
Yeah, who's not down for free beer?
So there's no way I'm drinking that beer unless you give it to me.
There you go. All right, folks, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, one word. Get your Hog Holster today. All right, this first video here is, that Democrats, liberals, the left are now plotting and planning as to how they are going to win back the minds of America, in particular America's males. Well, let's just say the planning process is not going too well for them.
How do we convince conservatives to change their political views? Change their political views. We need a playbook. Well, let's get to work. Are we capable of peaceful protests? You mean like burning cities to the ground? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Why are you dressed like an American ISIS convert? Are you a Harvard professor now? I thought we support Hamas this week. Do we? I don't. Are we done with Ukraine? Rule of thumb for the playbook: what do conservatives always say we need? Meds? Helmets? No, what our country needs. Law and order. So we do the opposite. Write torch cop cars and Hail Mary Molotov cocktails like we're the Antifa Aaron Rodgers. Okay, but we're committing eco-friendly arson, right? That only matters when it suits us. So it's really no different than our other causes. How about to save the environment, though, we pay people to block traffic. Want me to put out flyers on Subarus? We sit Indian style. It's cross-dress applesauce now. Whatever, across highways, during rush hour, holding hands. And if they don't like it, we rip them out of their cars and beat them to death. If they don't see our point of view on climate change after that, then there's nothing we can do for them. You can only be so loving and tolerant. Right, start forest fires though. We're gonna need proof it's real. Feels like a lot of fire ideas. What if we smash storefront windows and we steal Nikes, iPhones, big screen TVs? Undocumented shopping, that's easily justifiable. Like what? People can't get bread anymore? Oh, and vandalism. Keying, smearing poop on people's cars. What? Well, if we like the founder of an electric car company, and then we decide we don't, we vandalize random people's electric cars. That makes total sense. We are so classy. I got another one. Spray paint buildings and statues. Nothing says justice like racist painted across the Lincoln Memorial or whatever. Well, I don't think he... No. I'm gonna roll. Free speech. Who doesn't love free? No more. Yeah, no, free speech sucks. We limit free speech and any ideas we don't like. Well, how would we... we silence them. Like with duct tape? So what do we have so far? So we have burning cities to the ground, blocking traffic, ripping people out of their cars, starting forest fires, vandalizing cars, buildings, and statues, limiting speech we don't like, and silencing people. But the biggest threat is right-wing terrorism. Well, obviously.
That is exactly how that planning session went, I am sure.
Yes. That's a documentary. Yeah.
Yeah. This next one here is it's really short, but it kind of makes its point about the affiliation and really talks to the new partnership between radical Islam and the political left.
This marriage between radical Islam and the political left really fascinates me because on the surface, the two have nothing in common. Like one is completely intolerant of anyone with a different belief system, and the other is radical Islam.
Very true.
All right, this last one here is a little bit serious. Now, I will warn you, there's some language bombs in here, but I wanted to share this one because, you know, when you talk to the liberals and you talk about, like, for example, the having the National Guard go to various different cities. In this particular case, we'll be talking Memphis. I want you to hear what the people who actually live in the hood in Memphis have to say about the people actually from these communities who are actually seeing what's going on the ground, how they feel about the National Guard being there in Memphis.
I think Memphis need the National Guard here, though.
Do I think Memphis needed
the National Guard and the Fed, all the people they got here now?
Man, what I'm finna say, I think I'm gonna get a little backlash for it, but you know, I ain't never cared. They said they gonna say it. They might say it on the internet, but they ain't gonna say it around me. Memphis had got so bad that we needed something. You know, it's one thing to hustle and to try to get some money, but it's another thing, man, to be out just robbing people, taking people cars. Then if they come to the door about their car, you gonna kill them about their shit.
But even looking out the window,
they can't even peep out the window, and you gonna shoot them in the face. What if somebody did that to your mama, or your sister? How would they feel? You know, and it's just, you know. So with that being said, it had got out of control, bro. And you know, if we didn't need the National Guard, we needed something. You know, and I be joking with people all the time. You know, I know a lot of people, a lot of my supporters, and you know, they hate Trump or whatever. But one thing you can't say, and one thing you can't knock. And that nigga turned Memphis to South Haven in 2 weeks.
Man, look, I seen some white people jogging on South Parkway.
Man, come on, you gonna continue to see?
I was like, God damn, I just saw 2 white ladies jogging down South Parkway.
Yep.
What really got me was that part at the end, because I remembered. So here in Sacramento, there's this neighborhood called Oak Park, and Oak Park is the hood, right? And I remember a couple of years back, and it's because of housing prices and all of that, it's become, well, we'll just call it gentrified. And I remember there was an event there was an event over there, and we were standing outside talking. And I remember we saw, once again, two middle-aged white ladies with their little dogs just walking right on by. And it was funny because it was like four brothers, four black dudes standing there talking. And we all at the same time stopped and watched, because we had been, at this point, I had been in Sacramento for decades, and you just didn't see at night middle-aged white women just walking down the street with their little dogs in Oak Park. That didn't happen.
And at that
Now
point,
it
you were like,
does.
damn, I'm gonna lose my house. I'm gonna lose my house.
Well, I don't live in Oak Park.
About to lose my Oak Park. About to get gentrified.
But yeah, you know what? And there's tons of people on the street interviews. You've seen them in Washington, D.C., and they're in Memphis, where people are like, look, I'm happy. I can actually go outside. I can actually do stuff. I ain't got to worry about nothing. So as much as the political elites on the left may not like it, people on the streets are enjoying it.
Exactly right.
All right.
Yep.
All right, folks, that brings us to the end of our program. But before we go, we're going to give one more quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yep. Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. If you got yourself an AR and you need a new barrel, this is the place to go. They got rifle caliber, pistol caliber, any length you desire. That's hitmanindustries.net. California Republican Assembly, fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. If you want the best in field gear, tactical gear, web gear, law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, whatever it may be, get your group together, get your agency together, place an order at uscombatgear.com, where you can get everything except the gun.
That's right, folks. Once again, please take a moment, visit our sponsors by following the links in the description to this program. Go there, spend some money with them. Tell them those guys over at the Down that sent you. And with that, we're going to be done for today. We should be back live tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Y'all have fun. Take care. And we will look forward to hollering at y'all mañana. Peace out.